Have you ever thought about how there are so many agents in the game, but you can actually only have 5 of them in a team comp? Theoretically, if you think about it, there is a best team comp. Riot's trying their best to avoid power creep, but to be honest, there's always just going to be some agents that are better than others for solo queue. And if you're not picking those agents, you might be making the game harder on yourself than it needs to be. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm someone who loves picking underpowered agents, but you know what's cooler than being above average Cypher in Plat? Being an average Chamber in Immortal. Stick with us as we break down the 5 best agents in solo queue, and we'll help you get there. In this video, we'll give a bunch of tricks on how to play each of these agents, but if you're looking for the best stuff, be sure to check out our Smurf commentaries on the site. These are full-length games where top-level players will walk you through how they carry matches regardless of rank. Take a listen to this round from one of them.
So as soon as I saw my teammates jump out, it's good to have somebody stay in hookah so that you can play off your teammates in case they get swung or whatever, because that's exactly what happened there. Killjoy swung, and then another guy swung out CT, and another guy TP'd or something. That's why I stayed in there, because you want to try and keep that map control because it's important to play crossfires in the post.
Alright, that's enough. If you want to see the full commentary, be sure to check out SkillCapped.com. Let's get back into the video. Starting off this list is, as we mentioned, Chamber. He's arguably the best solo carry agent in the game right now, even after his nerfs. He may be a sentinel, but he has amazing tools to make aggressive plays thanks to his rendezvous. His headhunter and tour de force also help keep his bank account nice and healthy so that he pretty much always has a usable weapon. And to top it all off, his trademark is also one of the best abilities in the game for holding flanks and making sure that you're not dying in the back. When playing Chamber, it's important to make sure that you're trying to take first contact during rounds to get the first pick and then use your TPs to get out. Here's an example of Optic Ye doing this on the defense of a Breeze game. In this round, Ye starts off by placing down an anchor and having his Sova dart halls for him. This is great for slowing down an enemy push, giving him time to push up a bit. Once Ye sees an enemy, he starts moving towards cover and places down his second anchor before committing to a fight. Once the anchor is down, it's go time. Ye takes this fight, gets a kill, and then teleports out once he feels like he's in danger. Ye is so confident that he even re-peeks and gets a second kill before dying, giving his team a 4v3 this round. What we can learn from a clip like this is that as Chamber, it's important to be aggressive with your utility. By taking early fights, you're able to take the game into your own hands instead of waiting for things to happen. Play him like this and you'll find yourself carrying games more often than not. The next agent I want to talk about is Reys. With the inherent chaotic nature of solo queue, an agent like Reys is really good at taking advantage of that chaos to get a ton of value. I can't even count how many times I've seen players die at the start of the round because they didn't expect an early paint shells to be thrown in their face. She also has a really strong ultimate that can both open up a site and get an easy pick. You can't underestimate the sheer amount of damage that Reys' kit can deal. When it comes to how you should play her, it's all about playing fast and loose while not being afraid to use your utility to take space. As an example, I have a clip from Corey playing Reys on Bind. He starts out this pistol round on attacker side. Here you'll see that Corey is not afraid to use both his boombot and paint shells to fully clear out hookah, even though he doesn't know for sure if there's going to be an enemy there. He also follows up on this utility with his Jett to take control of the space made by this utility. On the defense, there are plenty of rounds where you can see that Corey doesn't like to sit still. He's usually the first person to rotate off a site whenever enemies are spotted to help fend off the attackers. In this next clip, Corey starts the round by getting early info using his boombot and peeking outside of hookah. After not seeing any enemies, Corey quickly starts running towards the A site. From there, he ends up going towards Heaven, throwing a nade into short and even killing the enemy Cypher that gets stuck in the cubby by the boxes. This quick rotation allowed Corey to be defending the site before the enemies were on it and made the hold so much easier. Playing like this is so effective in solo queue because so many defense rounds are lost before you even have a chance to fight. By making quick rotations, you'll be able to provide real value to your team's defense instead of just playing retake half the time. And Reys is a great agent to do this with since she's not an agent that's expected to anchor site. Play her like this and you'll be able to have a huge impact on your solo queue games. Moving on, the next agent on the list is Kayo. Although not traditionally seen as a solo carry agent thanks to his team-based kit, Kayo definitely has some tools that give him an edge in this category compared to the other initiators. First of all, he has arguably the best flashes in the role for solo carrying. Breach's flashes can definitely get a ton of value, but they are much harder to play off than Kayo's flash drive. His 0 point is also fantastic for getting info and making your job much easier on both the attacker and defender's side. If you're looking to solo carry with Kayo, you need to play him in a very specific way. First of all, as always, you need to use your utility to get early info and be ready to react based on that info. Second, you need to learn how to pop flash to get yourself easy kills. Whether that's around a corner or from inside of a smoke, pop flashing is one of the most powerful techniques to master in the game. Here's an example of FaZe Baby Bay doing this in a pro match on Ascent to help his team takes space. On this site execute, Baby Bay uses his ultimate to shut off the abilities of all of the enemies on site. Knowing that the defenders have no abilities to stop them, Baby Bay leads the charge here, throwing flashes to help his team push. Here, FaZe decides they want to push through their Astra wall to take out the opping Jett and Sova that are playing CT, so Baby Bay throws a well-placed pop flash through the wall to catch both defenders off guard. Unfortunately, Def was playing in a position where he was able to avoid the flash and got 2 kills, but FaZe was able to clean up all of the players in CT regardless. Plays like this are extremely impactful, and in solo queue, where players don't tend to play together, pop flashing like this can be even more effective. Speaking of effective, out of all of the controllers, Omen has the best kit for playing for himself and getting a ton of value in solo queue. He has the fastest and easiest to use smokes, the ability to reposition with his shadow step, and most importantly, an extremely powerful blind. This ability alone is a huge reason why Omen is such a great pick for solo carrying in Valorant. If you're able to time it correctly and catch enemies off guard while they're stuck out in the open, you can get a ton of free kills on blind enemies over the course of a game. Out of all the controllers, Omen has the most potential to make big plays, and because of that, he's an easy inclusion for this list. There are a couple of things to keep in mind when playing Omen to get the most out of the agent. First, Omen's blind is a huge part of his kit and where he gets a lot of his value. When playing Omen, you should focus on trying to play in positions with long, narrow hallways where enemies will find it hard to hide from you when you blind them. Aiming to get 1 kill around with your blind is a great goal to reach for. Another huge part of playing Omen is playing around your smokes. Don't be afraid to play inside them sometimes to catch enemies off guard. Finally, Omen's ultimate, despite popular belief, can actually be pretty impactful if used correctly. Our advice to get value out of this ability is to try to prioritize ulting behind enemies into positions where you aren't easy to deal with. For example, if you ult Heaven on A site bind, it's a really awkward position that most players aren't going to play at the start of the round. Sure, enemies might assume that you're up there, but what are they going to do about it while they're getting pushed from both showers and short? Suddenly, the enemies are getting collapsed on, and just you being alive is providing a ton of value. I normally like to combo this play by blinding out onto site and making as much noise as possible to keep the defenders focused on me. Remember though, it's really important that you don't die up here, otherwise your team loses all that pressure we talked about before. This is mostly applicable on offense, but you can even do these sorts of plays on defense when preparing for a retake. All you need to do is ult to a position you don't expect the attackers to be, and presto, you've caused a ton of havoc in the enemy team. Incorporate these 3 tips into your gameplay and trust me, you'll find success with Omen in solo queue. Last but not least, who could forget about Jett? Even after all the nerfs and meta shifts, Jett is still a fantastic agent to solo carry with. Of course, she's definitely a lot more difficult to play after all of her nerfs, but if you can get into playing her, you'll definitely be able to carry countless matches. The nice thing is, Jett plays very similarly to Chamber. Solo carrying with Jett is all about being aggressive, taking early fights, and then using your utility to get to safety. If you're able to get a first blood and dash away, you'll garner a ton of value. Combine that with their Blade Storm, and Jett will pretty much be a threat in every single round of the game. Here's a round from TenZ playing Jett where he aggressively pushes onto site with a Marshall. This round starts with TenZ peeking from cave and taking a duel versus the enemy Jett. After getting the first blood, he now pushes onto site, dashing into a smoke and killing the Kayo as well. These are 2 really big kills that essentially secure a round win, and on a round where the enemy team actually decided to spend all of their money rather than saving, which puts his team so far ahead. Plays like this are exactly why Jett is such a good agent for solo carrying games, and that's why we just couldn't resist putting her on this list. And there you have it, those are the 5 best agents for carrying matches in solo queue. If there are any agents that you think we missed, please let us know in the comments. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. As always, all of us here at SkillCapped want to give you a huge thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next one.